Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. Kinneas here, and I wanted to watch the State of the Union tonight. And I wanted to do some flying tonight and get another 737 flight in. And I wanted to do some reaction to whatever President Trump is talking about. And I'm very interested to see if you have anything to say about it as well. So I'm going to have the image from Fox News in the lower corner, and I'll have the audio pumped up here in a minute. I'm going to try to find a flight to Washington. And yeah, so that's what I'm trying to set up right now. Sorry, I'm kind of scrambling. I wasn't planning to do it. I'm like, I really want to fly and tonight, and I really want to watch the State of the Union. So anyway, go ahead and listen to this commentary from Fox News while I get a flight set up here.
Pulled right out of the progressive playbook. Joe Biden tried to get that done during his term in office, but he didn't necessarily carry the negotiating weight.
I'll be checking out the chat shortly after I get things set up here.
With these big pharmaceutical companies and our allies.
Oh, not a career.
In attempts to lower prices at home. That is one issue where there might be bipartisan accord. But again, in an election year, I'm just not so sure anything that the president is going to put forward is going to get the necessary sign-off from Democrats and moderate Republicans to make it into a law eventually.
I heard the hockey team's going to be there. The Olympic hockey team. That's cool. I don't much care for people that are boycotting. If your job is to be in government, your job is to be in government.
Moments here. One thing that Christian and I are going
It is going to get political. If you don't want to hear me get political tonight, I completely understand.
With the GOP, there have been visible divisions.
If you like me and you're like, I like you, but if I hear you talk politics, I may not like you anymore. Yeah, I know.
How is the White House?
I know, that's why I usually avoid it.
Heading into a nationally televised address.
Well, the simple answer is that they're trying to castigate these Republican members of Congress as anything but Republican. Maybe they're.
Let's try to imagine maybe we're going to a. How long would it take for me to get from Denver?
But they're really trying to project unity, especially heading into November, because
Washington.
Again, the way that Donald Trump is legislating doesn't necessarily predicate that typical two-way relationship we've seen exist between the executive and legislative branches. I think the way that the president is putting forward primary opponents against sitting Republican members of Congress in both chambers tells you all you need to know, that this president isn't necessarily centered on is focused on making sure Republicans can maintain their seats. He is focused on getting Republicans in who will vote in lockstep with his legislative agenda.
Let's listen in.
Oh, here he comes.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
They're not giving me a time. How you doing, Mr. President? And we'll just set it up for that anyway. Denver to Washington, D.C. trying to keep him on time. And then they said it's going to be a long one. You're watching Fox.
Denver Tower.
Trying to, hopefully they don't get too mad at me.
Ready, runway 26. Departure to the north.
Ken Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649er. Altimeter 299er2, departure to the north. Cleared for takeoff, runway 26.
Clear for takeoff, runway 26. Ken Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649er.
Uh, 007 is the heading. How appropriate. I like that. 007. Well, now we have a discontinuity already right at the start.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
LNAV, VNAV, flight directors on, auto throttle on, barometer set, standard. Wonder if that's the hockey team. LS Frequency 1099.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's really an honor. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, First Lady of the United States.
1110. Hopefully we don't need that.
Second Lady of the United States. Members of Congress and my fellow Americans.
Oh, that's not
Our
right.
nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Less than 5 months from now, our country will celebrate an epic milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of our glorious American independence. This July 4th, we will mark 2.5 centuries of liberty and triumph, progress and freedom in the most incredible and exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And you've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America. When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages.
Well, we're getting there, they say, but, we're not feeling it in our pocketbooks right at the moment. Man, and we can't, economies take a while to fix, but holy be Jesus.
And we will never go back to where we were just a very short time ago. We're not going back. Today our border is secure. Thank you. Today our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. And our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. And America is respected again, perhaps like never before. After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year.
Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649. Continue for more departure.
Whoa,
Last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years, year 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred,
leaving my airspace.
before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%.
Kim Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649. Did you hear my last transmission?
Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year.
All right, headed to Washington, D.C. for an imaginary State of the Union after party.
Protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe.
Test. All right. Pocahontas.
Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes.
All right. We can kick our feet up now. I think we're in good shape. And now pay attention to the State of the Union. And I'll be just shooting out whatever I'm thinking. And if you would like to comment, please leave your comments. I don't care what your political views are. Pro, con, whatever. You're an American. You're entitled to have whatever opinions you want. Whether or not I want to share them on the air, but they'll be there in the chat. Look, I don't want to split hairs.
Nobody can believe.
I'm an American. You're an American. You can feel however you want to feel. Say whatever you want to say. I'm going to say whatever I want to say during this live stream.
More than 80 million barrels of oil.
Venezuela was a mess.
American natural gas
went in and picked that guy out of there like he was a sim. Just lifted him up and pulled him out of there. I am concerned. I am very interested to hear what he has to say on foreign issues, on Iran.
More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today. And 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector. We ended DEI in America.
Oh, really? No internal cameras? Oh, that's a bummer.
We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. And for all of these reasons, I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, no, no. You're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And
we need to see it. We need to see it.
Here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud.
All righty, the hockey team.
Gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
Congratulations, gentlemen. I don't really follow sports, but hey, you know, far out. Far out. I'm not a big Olympics person. But, you know, no matter what, I'm going to be proud as all heck. That's awful nice of them to show up tonight. Right on. Hard to believe that for as much as we all fight on this world, that the Olympics is still going on. All the way from ancient Greece until now. From Achilles.
Go ahead.
From Achilles till now. We need to see it, Mr. President. We need to fill it in our pocketbooks. When it's $4 for a Big Mac, $5 for a Big Mac, sir.
It's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. But they beat a fantastic
They're all Americans, sir.
Team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House.
Oh, good. I heard they were too busy to make it tonight.
I applied to over 35 jobs on LinkedIn and got 0 responses. Then I found jobhire.ai, and now I finally landed my dream remote.
Thank you to Fox News, trying to use this under Creative Commons attribution. There's not much to see out there, so I thought, yeah.
They were in the Oval Office before, and I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I've never seen a goaltender.
27 minutes after the hour.
Connor,
a little bit behind schedule. Smoke if you got them. It's a smoking flight. It's a VIP flight. This is for you and for us. Heading to an imaginary after party in Washington, D.C. tonight on Skydude. Special State of the Union episode. Again, if you have any comments, doesn't matter how you feel you're an American, you can post whatever you're thinking. This is going to be a political show, so
on gold, and I asked him,
if you feel like saying anything, go right ahead and comment in the chat.
Your stick and bounced off. You practiced that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question.
All I know is we need to get back to Big Macs under $1. Then I'll know the economy is good again.
We'll be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case, my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great athletes have gotten that, very great, the best, and I thought he deserved it. And I did take a vote, every single one of them. I said, I'm not giving it if anybody goes no, and every single one of them rapidly put up their hand. So I want to thank you, and what a special job you did, what special champions you are. Thank you very much. I'm also pleased to say that the next time the Olympic torch is lit, it will be here in America for the 2028 Olympics, and it's
nice.
The summer version right in Los Angeles.
Very nice.
Good job in Los Angeles.
I'm already thinking about Archer Aviation and their acquisition of Hawthorne Northrop, and they're going to be one of the official air taxis for the Olympics.
To be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country. And this year, and I must say I got them both. I got them in the first term, and I was disappointed because I didn't think I'd be the president when this happened. But strange things took place. And now I've got them because I got the Olympics and I got the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I wanted to claim the 250th, but I didn't get away with that one. I couldn't claim that one for myself. But we're getting the World Cup, so we have the World Cup and the Olympics coming, and that is exciting news. So this will be a year to celebrate our country and the heroes who have kept it free. Men like Buddy Taggart. At age 17, Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. But he earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday. So, Buddy, you're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setback, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shone through very brightly. It was July 4th of last year when floodwaters tore through a girls' summer camp in Central Texas. One of the worst things I've ever seen. I was there, rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many, many lives. You all remember that one. as the waters threatened to sweep her away. 11-year-old Millie Kate McClelland closed her eyes and prayed to God. She thought she was going to die. Those prayers were answered when Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knew where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission. Young guy, but very brave, very, very top, always top in his class. And he lifted not just Millie Kate, but 164 others to safety.
Wow. I did not know that. Let me get my coffee here. Cheers.
People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going, and that rapid water, nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, that's something. Tonight, Scott and Millie Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time. Thank you, Scott, Millie Kate. And Petty Officer Ruskin, I'm pleased to inform you that I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, which is what it was, extraordinary heroism. Thank you. And I'd like to have the military aide to please come down and take care of the service. Military aide, thank you very much. Take care of that very important service. Thank you very much. From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans has stepped forward to defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Amen.
And they're really doing it for the next generation. But now it's our turn. Together we're building a nation where every child has the chance to reach higher and go further, where government answers to the people, not the powerful, and where the interests of hardworking American citizens are always our first and ultimate concern. That is the debt we owe to the heroes who came before us, and that is the promise we must keep to America for our 250th year. Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans. All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great big...
I don't like that, man.
We gave you no tax on tips,
Chuck Schumer.
no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
I'd like to get them to get rid of property tax. I'd like them to get rid of a lot of different taxes. Definitely property tax.
Interest on auto loans, tax deductible the first time, but only if the car is made in America.
That's pretty cool.
Recently in Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her
Kick back, put your feet up, and if you want to comment on the State of the Union, you go right ahead.
At night, as
Feel free to say whatever you want to say.
Operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening, and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and her expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half.
We're flying to Washington, D.C. tonight.
Megan, please stand up.
For our imaginary State of the Union after party.
Thank you, Megan. We're fighting for you, Megan. Under our bill, parents like Megan can also activate their children's brand new Trump accounts. And I didn't name it. I did not name that. Nobody believes me, but I did not name it. It was named by a very tall man sitting right there in the third row. Nice man, a good man. Tax-free investment accounts for every American child. This is something that's so special and has taken off and gone through the roof. Millions will be pre-funded courtesy of the U.S. Treasury and private individuals like Michael and Susan Dell, who have donated $6,250 million to fund the Trump accounts for 25 million American children. They're great people. I asked Michael Dell, how do you make all that money? He said, well, I just sat on my dorm in school, and I made computers, and I'd sell them to people. And I just kept selling and selling and selling, and pretty amazing story. That's called the American dream. He sold a lot of computers, a lot of those laptops, so I congratulate him on that, but I really thank him and Susan, as well as others like Brad Gerstner, a very tremendous guy. He was behind it right from the beginning. Brad Gerstner. Thank you, Brad. So with modest additional contributions, these young people's accounts could grow to over $100,000 or more by the time they turn 18. Think of it. How much money is that for somebody that started with nothing? Over 100,000, could be much more than that. To make this investment in our children's future, go to trumpaccounts.gov. Trumpaccounts.gov. And a lot of people are doing it. It's setting every record in the book. It's popular. They knew what it was going to take. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the people that got it started. Now it's just taken off. One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth, and the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
I hate that I can't keep this a secret. I canceled all my food delivery subscriptions and upgraded to Cook Unity, and it's
right? Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first. To put America first. I love America. For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to healthcare, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a...
Not thrilled about that.
Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
They did. Without a doubt. Our founders told us to have periods of immigration and periods of no immigration to let everything balance out. And they went crazy. And, you know, throughout time, they should have known. They know that collapses economies and can bring you down.
Policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. The price of eggs is down 60%, Madam Secretary, thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while, we're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago. Nobody can believe when they see the kind of numbers, and especially energy, when they see energy going down to numbers like that, they cannot believe it. It's like another big tax cut. I'm also convinced of our times.
Network connection's unstable.
Health care caused by you. Since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare, big insurance company that's gotten rich. It was meant for the insurance companies, not for the people. With our government giving them hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year as their stock prices soared 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and even 1,700%, like nothing else. That's why I introduced the great health care plan. I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost. In addition, my plan requires maximum price transparency. That's a big deal. Sounds so simple, so big. And I did that in my first term, and the Democrats immediately terminated it with full knowledge that they were doing a very bad thing for the people. Costs were going to go way up, and that's what happened, and now I'm bringing them way down on health care and everything else. I'm also ending the wildly inflated cost of prescription drugs like has never happened before.
Well, I'm not on prescriptions yet.
The president
so
tried to do it, but they never could.
Congratulations.
Most didn't try, actually. But they tried. They said they tried. They couldn't do it. They didn't even come close. They were all talk and no action. But I got it done. Under my just enacted most favored nation agreements, Americans who have for decades paid by far.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just noticed that the cover art was wrong.
Anywhere in the world
and it defaulted to the previous live stream.
will now pay the
That's fixed now. Sorry about that.
in the world for drugs. Anywhere. The lowest price.
We better.
So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. I took prescription drugs, a very big part of healthcare, from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest. That's a big achievement. The result is price differences of 300, 400, 500, 600% and more, all available right now at a new website called TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name that one either, by the way. And here tonight is the very first customer ever to get that big discount, and it is big. Catherine Rayner. For 5 years, she and her husband have struggled with infertility, and they turned to IVF. One drug has been costing Catherine $4,000 to purchase, but a few weeks ago, she logged onto the Trump RX website and got that same drug that cost $4,000, got it for under $500. A reduction of much more, actually, than $3,500. Catherine, we are all praying for you, and you're going to be a great mom. So now I'm calling on Congress to codify my most favored nation program into law. Now, the one thing, I'm not sure it matters because it's going to be very hard for somebody that comes along after me to say, let's raise drug prices by 700 or 800%. But John and Mike, if you don't mind, codify it anyway. They may do it. Codify it anyway. Thank you. Many Americans are also concerned that energy demand from AI data centers could unfairly drive up their electric utility bills. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that I have negotiated the new Ratepayer Protection Pledge. You know what that is? We're telling the major tech companies that they have the obligation to provide for their own power needs. They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community, and very substantially down. This is
unless they're putting an AI data center in your
we have
area.
no grid. It could never handle the kind of numbers, the amount of electricity that's needed. So I'm telling them they can build their own plant. They're going to produce their own electricity. It will ensure the companies.
That's what those data centers need to do. They have to generate. They should have to generate their own.
Prices of electricity for you, and could be very substantial for all of you cities and towns. You're going to see some good things happen over the next number of years. Another pillar of the American dream that has been under attack is home ownership. With us tonight is Rachel Wiggins, a mom of 2 from Houston. She placed bids on 20 homes and lost all of those bids to gigantic investment firms that bypassed inspection, paid all cash, and turned those houses into rentals, stealing away her American dream. She was devastated. Stories like this are why last month I signed executive order to ban large Wall Street investment firms from buying up in the thousands single-family homes. And now I'm asking Congress to make that ban permanent, because homes for people, really, that's what we want. We want homes for people, not for corporations. Corporations are doing just fine. Racel, thank you very much. Good luck with your home. You'll get one soon. We're also working to make it easier for Americans to save for retirement. And under this administration, we will always protect Social Security and Medicare. They are not protecting it for our seniors. We will always protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Since I took office, the typical 401k balance is up by at least $30,000. That's a lot of money. We have millions and millions of people, because the stock market has done so well, setting all those records. Your 401ks are way up. Yet half of all of working Americans still do not have access to a retirement plan with matching contributions from an employer. To remedy this gross disparity, I'm announcing that next year my administration will give these oft-forgotten American workers, great people, the people that built our country, access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year, as we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market. Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
Let's see it. I'm investing for the first time. I'm excited about the EV tolls. I've been flying the Archer and the Joby in the simulator an awful lot lately. And, you know, I've never invested before, so I can't give any advice. I don't know if I'm going to lose my shorts or not. But
they stood up for that, I can't believe.
I believe, as over a decade-long flight simmer, they're some of the greatest things I've ever flown in my life.
Doubt it.
Oh, he took her to task.
Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay.
Yes, please. Post haste. If you'd like to comment on anything he's saying in the chat room, you go right ahead.
I wasn't sure if anybody...
You're an American, I'm an American, you say whatever you want.
I'm very impressed, thank you.
We might not agree, but we're still Americans, and
to the corruption that is...
I have plenty of friends who are...
It's plundering America.
Who are Democrats.
There's been no more...
And I'm not willing to throw away friendships for politics.
Where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American tax.
We used to be a different kind of people here in America, and we didn't.
And in actuality,
I didn't see it anyway growing up, the fighting.
And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President J.D. Vance. We'll get it done. And if we're able to find enough of that fraud, we will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games. Delilah.
Gotta get rid of the HUD in the cockpit.
Delilah Colton was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life.
Awful.
She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she's now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up. Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location.
No bueno, por favor.
Tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
All right. My fellow Americans, I don't have any problem with that. I'm all for legal. I'm for law and order. I'm for the good guys. I'm for superheroes.
And yesterday, as you probably saw at the White House, I hosted a ceremony with Americans who lost their treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration. People came into our country, how we allowed this to happen with our open borders. These are the angel moms and families that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored. It was terrible. Hard to believe, actually. In 2023, a 16-year-old high school cheerleader named Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home.
Again, if you have any comments on anything you're hearing in the State of the Union tonight or feel strongly about anything, or just want to say hi, chat about anything, say hello in the chat room.
Was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast.
Here's a little known fact about the home insurance industry. There's a website out there that doesn't even require an agent, no pushy sales tactics, no hidden agenda.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for telling us.
Thank you very much.
I wonder if we'll get there before he finishes.
We can never forget that many in this room,
It's a long ways to go.
not only allowed the border invasion to happen, before I got involved.
They said he's going to talk long tonight.
Do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you. As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown.
Forgot to do that after takeoff. Well, before takeoff, really.
On GDP, 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually. Now they have closed the agency responsible
Sorry about that.
for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, homeland security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice. I'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly.
Wake up, buddy. Wake up.
Representatives.
Hey, buddy, you're on the kiss cam.
So tonight I'm inviting
buddy.
the legislature to join with my administration in reaffirming.
Somebody get that man a Tylenol and a beer
agree with
and a kiss.
Then
Lord.
Stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect Americans.
At what point in the State of the Union do we all stand up and sing Sweet Caroline? Ba-ba-ba-ba. Your times never felt so good. Flying over the heartland, watching the State of the Union with my fellow Americans. Flying to Washington, D.C. Maybe we'll make it on time for the end of the speech. We're going to check out an imaginary State of the Union after party. I think that'd be great. I'd like to hang out with the hockey team. I don't even watch hockey, but you know that's going to be a good party. Oh, I used to like that guy. I don't like that guy so much anymore. No siree. I'll go so far as to say I think he's been treasonous in his activities. And that's not good. Not good at all. I remember the ovations Ronald Reagan used to get.
Ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I'm that old.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities.
Yeah, you too.
Protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't stand that woman.
Murderers all over our country.
Either of them.
Blocking the removal.
I can't stand either of them.
Out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. We know what you're here for. Our founders warned us about you, and I'm sorry that our people that we've elected over the years thought that maybe they had enough time out and that it would be okay to start inviting them in. Obviously not. You see how they are around the world. I'm sorry. That's just the way it was. That's the way it is. Our founders said they need some time out. Give them at least 250 years or 200 years before.
Most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the...
They don't get along with Americans. We don't get along with them. They're here to overthrow us. Simple as that.
To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American...
I don't normally get political on my live streams and when I'm gaming or doing anything. Tonight's a special occasion. I'll go ahead and speak my mind. But normally, you know, I'm just they're here to have a good time with the rest of you. And, you know, I don't let, I'm not, what am I trying to say here? I just like keeping it out. But again, tonight's the State of the Union. I wanted to fly. I wanted to watch the State of the Union.
Citizenship in order to vote.
Peanut butter and chocolate. By the way, I could really use your support.
And no more
if you could, please.
Ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel.
Hit that like and subscribe button, please.
And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats. 89%.
Fair enough. She looks like she's about to vomit.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No,
right.
No good.
That's right.
No good.
No matter what side of the aisle we're on, we should all agree with that one.
We just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
Yep. Yep. Madam, I'll bet you have a driver's license and proof of ID, madam.
And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And
folks, I've been watching cheating statistics for over 15, 20 years. And 15 to 20 years ago, they said cheating increases 19% every year.
And here is one more opportunity to show.
That was over a decade ago.
Government. In the gallery tonight are.
That means we're over 100% voter fraud.
In 2021, Sage was 14.
Over 100%.
Virginia sought to socially
folks, come on now.
Transition her to a new gender, treating her as a boy and hiding it from her parents. Hard to believe, isn't it? Before long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland. A left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman.
That's a man, baby.
Full ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up.
What's something weird about that situation?
And thank you for your great bravery. And who would believe that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous states without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children.
Addy, thank you for tuning in. If you have any comments on what you're hearing in the State of the Union tonight, it's a political zone tonight. Go ahead and speak your mind. You're an American.
We must ban it immediately.
I'll be trying to read any comments on air. I don't know if nobody's chatted so far. That's fine.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you. They're crazy.
I think so.
Amazing. Gentlemen. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? No one cares more about protecting America's youth than our wonderful First Lady. Now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it? Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure
beautiful lady
$1 to launch the Melania Trump foster
most beautiful first lady we've ever had
initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get none. She gets a lot. Someday you're going to have to tell me how you did that. And students and educators in every state have joined the First Lady's efforts in the presidential AI challenge, keeping America's next generation positioned to succeed and strongly succeed in the future. Tonight we welcome two young people whose lives reflect the First Lady's impact, Sierra Burns and Everest Nevermont. Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much.
There's Barron. What that kid knows. What that kid knows.
I'm very proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal. This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk, a great guy, great man. So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand. Thank you, Erica. Been through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind.
All right. I'd rather it doesn't happen. We used to be a groovy people.
We love bringing it back, and it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Above all, unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities safe. We have made incredible strides, yet dangerous repeat offenders continue to be released by pro-crime Democrat politicians again and again. We are honored to be joined tonight by a woman who's been through hell.
Kansas City.
Zaretska. In 2022, she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman, Irina fled.
Cheers, hope you're doing well tonight.
War-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up.
What a sad day in our history.
In the last seconds of her life, she died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal set free to kill in America. Came in through open borders. Mrs. Zaretska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that
I don't understand some people.
Offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there.
You know, where's your compassion? You're supposed to be the compassionate ones. Some things, you know, doesn't matter what side you're on.
Starting last summer, I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities, including Memphis, Tennessee, big success, New Orleans, Louisiana, big success, and our nation's capital itself, Washington, D.C., where we have...
Scribe makes step-by-step guides for any process.
Well, that's neat.
AI. You know what's terrifying?
In fact, crime in Washington is now at the lowest level ever recorded, and murders in D.C. this January were down close to 100% from a year ago. They don't like to hear that. One of the sick people, one of the brave service members who helped achieve this stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she voluntarily extended her service, and her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud of her. But the very next day, she was on patrol near the White House when she was ambushed and shot in the head by a terrorist monster from Afghanistan. Shouldn't have been in our country. And all because she wore the uniform of our nation, she was shot. He traveled
sad
because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick and deranged, shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah Beckstrom died in order to defend our capital, and we are honored to be joined by her wonderful parents, Gary and Eva Lee. Your daughter was a true American patriot, and she will be greatly missed. She was a great person. I saw reports on her. They've never seen anything like it. So sorry. Thank you very much. A great young lady. I saw reports that were like, perfect. She was perfect. Serving alongside Sarah that day was Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. The terrorist shot Andrew in the head, and no one thought he could possibly make it. The two of them, Sarah and Andrew, both shot violently in the head. Neither was expected to make it. They weren't even given a chance, except his wonderful mother, named Melody, who I spoke to the same night. And she was so positive. The doctors thought that Andrew was gone. But his mother said, no, no, Mr. President, Andrew will be fine. He's going to make it. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he was given almost no chance.
Whoa.
She said, I have no doubt, sir, he's going to be okay. This was a conversation that I had with her that night, with her son laying helplessly in bed, blood all over. Everybody is praying, she said, sir, he will be okay. The doctors didn't understand what she was saying. And after looking at the results of the damage done, neither did I. She was so strong and conclusive that even Andrew's great father felt she didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. But she turned out to be right. Right, Melanie? She turned out to be right. Amazing, actually. I said, where does this woman come from? She's the most positive person I've ever met. With God's help, Andrew has battled back from the edge of death, and we're talking about the edge of death, on his way to a miraculous recovery. He's got a little work to do, but he's doing great. Nice to see. He's a good-looking guy. Nice to see you. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much. So, Andrew, while you're up, now I'm going to ask a highly respected General James Seward to present Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf and the great family of Sarah Beckstrom with the award created by our late, great President George Washington himself. It's called the Purple Heart. We love you all. Love you. We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. In my first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? And sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India. Would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for your help. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jared. And I also want to thank the man they report to, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Thank you, Marco. People like you. You know, Marco got 100% of the votes when he was in confirmation. I think our next one was about 54%. And some of the Democrats are now saying, I can't believe we approved that guy. And he said it's an honor that they feel that way, right, Marco? You have done a great job, great Secretary of State. I think he'll go down as the best ever. Under the ceasefire I negotiated, every single hostage, both living and dead, has been returned home. Can you believe that? Nobody thought it was possible. Nobody thought that was possible. Both living and dead, and those parents who had a dead son, their boy, they'd always tell me their boy, they wanted him as much as though he were living. It was an amazing period of time. And they came back, and when we got all of the living hostages back, and many, many before them, but I always said those last 20 are going to be very tough, but we got many, many more, hundreds. But I said those last 20 are going to be tough. We got them back, but we only got back 14 or 15 of the dead of the 28. And believe it or not, Hamas worked along with Israel, and they dug, and they dug, and they dug. It's a tough thing to do, going through bodies all over, passing up 100 bodies sometimes for each one that they found. Tough job. And they finally got it back to 27. And then Steve and Jared, they got it back to 28. They found all 28. Nobody thought that was possible, but we did it. And I remember the family of the 28th. They were so grieved, but they were so happy as it's possible to be. They had their boy back. The mother said, sir, we have our boy back. What a period of time that was, but we got them all back. So thank you both very much. Great job. And we're working very hard to end the 9th war, the killing and slaughter between Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers are dying each and every month. Think of that, 25,000 soldiers are dying a month. A war which would have never happened if I were president, would have never happened. As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
Midnight Hammer.
For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that fabrication 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people. with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like, 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue, starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong, because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective. So thanks to Republicans in Congress, we're investing that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States Armed Forces. Also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even doing it for that reason. Because as I said, we have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the history of our country. And NATO countries are friends and allies. They are. They're our friends and they're our allies. They've just agreed, at my very strong request, to pay 5% of GDP for military defense rather than the 2%, which they weren't paying. We were paying for almost all of NATO. Now they're paying 5 as opposed to not paying 4.
That's good. The only thing our government was created for in the beginning was just for defense. I know, when he's saying, we have no choice.
Everyone said would never be done, could not happen.
And we don't.
One meeting. And big difference between 2% that's not paid. We were paying, afraid of many of them. Very few were paid up. Now 5%, then they're paid. And everything we send over to Ukraine.
But everybody stuck their fingers in the pie. Everybody wants their share for this, that, the other.
Totally in full.
And ultimately, the only thing that we were supposed to create the government for was for our protection, and that was it.
Recruitment. This is so exciting. And every service member recently.
We weren't supposed to go down the road of socialism. Or anything else, for that matter.
And every service member recently received a warrior dividend of $1,776.
And that is not a lot.
You know, they put it on my desk. We got the money from tariffs and other things, a lot of money we have. We have much more money than people understand. Have to rebuild that program a little bit, but it won't take long. But we got the money, and it was $1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, what's the number? $1,775. I said, wait a minute, for $1 more we can have $1,776. Let's go to it. I said, we're going to figure that. I never asked anybody if we could afford it. $1 more, I said $1,776. And I said, that's good. And I'll tell you what, our military, that was 4 months ago, our military, I never see a person in the military that doesn't thank me for it, so we're honored to do it.
Cheers, I hope you're doing well tonight.
And we call it 1776, it was great. And we love our military, we love our law enforcement, we love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned.
People see this deck, it's like it's out of Hollywood.
Flying to Washington, D.C., I wanted to fly tonight, and I also wanted to watch the State of the Union.
We're also restoring American security and dominance in the Western Hemisphere, acting to secure our national interests and defend our country from violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference. For years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
I'm going to run back to the galley and get a coffee. You need anything? I'll be right back.
And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that. We very seriously damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also taken down one of the most sinister cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday. In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything like it. Foreign leaders, I won't tell you who, called me and they said, very impressive, very impressive. They couldn't believe, they all watched, they saw what happened. This is a different fighting force that we had years ago when we fought to tie. You know, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at Space Force. Space Force is my baby. As we did that, my baby is becoming so important. And America's armed forces overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice. And this was an absolutely colossal victory for the security of the United States, and it also opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, to unleash extraordinary economic gains for both of our countries and to bring new hope to those who have suffered so terribly. They really did suffer. With us tonight is Alejandro Gonzalez. She grew up in a tight-knit Venezuelan family and was especially close to her beloved uncle Enrique. But after Enrique ran for office and opposed Maduro, he was kidnapped by Maduro's security forces and thrown into the regime's really infamous prison in Caracas. Alejandro feared she would never see her uncle again. She feared for her own life also. But since the raid, we have worked with the new leadership, and they have ordered the closure of that vile prison and released hundreds of political prisoners already, with more to come. Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that not only has your uncle been released, but he is here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down. Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique. There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro. Really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor.
Nice.
Warrant Officer 5.
Nice.
Eric Slover planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter. A big, beautiful...
Nice, a pilot.
Helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine...
Helicopter pilots are a special breed, in my opinion.
Wow. The dog tags. His wife, Amy, had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation, protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip.
Oh,
one
man.
bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. And yet, despite the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine guns stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission, probably would have happened. Maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen. Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded, but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out. The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing. People knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy, Eric, and Amy, come on in.
A helicopter pilot. They are a special breed. I mean, I struggle with them. I can't even imagine how difficult they are in real life. A handsome fella.
So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg. We have it back. We brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back, too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House. And Eric will be there. Thank you, Eric. That's a big one. Tonight we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go. He is one more heroic American aviator, Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was elected long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor.
Wow. does warm me up, and we have moments where both sides are cheering. I want to get back to that so badly. I miss the way we used to be.
Royce, and thank you, Aaron. I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday. But you know, that's our highest honor, Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big thing, and it's an honor to be in the same room with you. Thank you both very much, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. 250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous wild.
Not only will we buy your house, but we are so confident in what we do that we guarantee to get you the cash you
raised up the world's greatest cities. Together we mastered the world's mightiest industries, shattered history's monstrous tyrannies, and we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel, and then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside, but that great betrayal is over and they will never be forgotten again, because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome. No frontier too vast for us to conquer. No dream too bold for us to chase. No horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of Providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Well, I actually thought he was going to go a lot longer. Everybody said he was going to go long tonight, and I don't think that was going long for President Trump. I thought I might be able to make it there before he finished. A little over halfway. If I would have started in Kansas City, I think we would have made it. I liked it. I think he addressed everything, we needed to hear him address. It won't really mean anything until we start filling it in our pocketbooks. It's the bottom line. The economy is everything. People have lost all their prosperity. They're losing all of their sanity.
The 2026 State of the Union Address. An hour and 47 minutes long.
I'll be darned.
That would be a record. That is the longest State of the Union in history.
Really?
As the president continues to make his way out of the chamber, taking selfies with the audience.
Good job. Thank you.
Listening to some of this natural sound.
Very well done. We'll see you Friday, Mr. President. Great job. Oh, good. Good. See you. Thank you.
Well done. God bless you.
Good job, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Excellent speech, Mr. President.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Best ever.
Mr. President.
Where you going, man?
I'm so proud of yourself. Thank you for honoring those veterans. Luger.
Like the comments I'm reading here. If you have a good sense of humor, then you're okay in my notepad. We're good.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
You killed it.
Thank you, Virginia.
It was amazing. It really was. Home run. Really grand slam. America loves you. It was amazing. America loves you.
Oh, look at this guy. I like that tie. I want that tie. Give me that tie.
Thank you.
Take that footage on initial, just an initial.
Thank you, boss. I like that tie.
Amazing.
Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, outstanding speech, sir. Mr. President. Here you will. He's getting them all. He's good. Right here,
You did good. They love the insider trading stuff.
Thank you. How's he doing? He's a youngster.
He fell asleep a couple times.
You did amazing.
Proud of you.
Great job, Mr. President. Thanks for your leadership.
Mr.
President, well done. God bless you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, fellas.
No best speech yet.
That's a big statement coming from you guys.
Great job. Great job.
Yes, sir. Love the finish.
Great job. Great job. Thank you, everybody. Great job. Great. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That was the best speech.
Thank you very much.
State of the Union speech I've ever heard.
Really, the best ever? That's a nice, coming from you, that's a big statement. There he is. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. President. That's great. That's great.
And President Trump exiting the chamber as he wraps his record-breaking length State of the Union speech. The president's touting. All right, that's then bringing things to a close for the evening. Tonight's address was wide-ranging, but it centered on immigration, the economy, and an assertive foreign policy agenda with several notable new proposals. The president opened on border security, touting reductions in illegal crossings and drug trafficking, sharply criticizing Democrats over immigration policy. The partisan divide in the chamber was evident throughout much of the night, though there were rare bipartisan moments of applause throughout the evening.
I liked those moments.
I'm Austin Westfall. We do appreciate everybody who has been watching along with us this evening. One thing that we are going to continue to track as the evening goes on is how people are reacting to the State of the Union speech. Let's start off with Fox News' Caroline Shively, who is live. Caroline has been listening along to the speech with us for the past hour and 47 minutes as we clocked it. Caroline, what were the main standouts?
I think the sentence probably that Trump would want to be remembered by was this one. He said our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever. He had praise for his administration, for his cabinet. He talked about the economic accomplishments, talking about the lowering prices of eggs and autos and rent and mortgage rates. But whenever he veered off the teleprompter, off the script, he and the Dems really got at it. There were some hecklers. He was going back and forth. One congresswoman saying you have killed Americans. So a balance of praise for Republicans and his administration and really some insults for the Democrats.
Al Green was escorted out of the event during the opening portions of the speech. It looked like he was holding up a sign. From your perspective, I did hear that there were some other members of Congress that were kind of going back and forth and were speaking over Trump during portions of the speech. He was removed. Was anybody else removed?
Not that I saw. And Al Green, you might remember, for last year was actually removed by order of House Speaker Johnson. That's when he stood up and yelled at Trump and shook his cane at him. This time he held a sign up saying that black Americans are not apes, referring to that video that was posted by Mr. Trump's account showing various Democrats as animals, including the Obamas as apes. So that was the only person I saw that was removed from the chamber. That happened early on in the evening.
From your perspective, Caroline, who was this speech aimed at? Persuading moderates, energizing the base, or both?
I think he tried to do a little bit of everything. Going into this, we were wondering just how much he would talk about the economy, America first, those type of issues that are strong with the base. He did talk about foreign investments, foreign wars, things that he had done overseas. That is something the base has said that they don't want to hear. They really take to heart the phrase America first. So he touched on both, emphasizing those American initiatives, but also talking about the wars he says he has solved. He spoke about Iran, the bombing last year, and perhaps even more bombs that be coming in the future. I think he tried to have a little something for everyone, at least in the Republican Party. Democrats in the chamber weren't pleased with what he was saying.
Caroline Shively reporting for us live tonight. Appreciate you. Thanks. So what we're going to do next is we're going to pivot over to our friend Tom LoBianco of 24 Site News. Tom, along with me and everybody else who's been watching tonight, we were listening for some specific indicators, Tom, about where this administration is headed. I was curious about DHS funding in the immediate term. Obviously, a lot of us are watching the military buildup in Iran, and we're watching for any indicators as to where that might be going. I heard Trump sort of vaguely allude to the idea that if diplomacy isn't reached, then there may be another avenue that they look at in the near-term future here. But ultimately, Tom, as we look at this now empty chamber, what are your main takeaways from the night? The president talked about, you know, his foreign policy. He talked about immigration. He talked, of course, about the economy. When we look back at tonight's speech, what feels like the headline?
Yeah, for sure. I'm laughing because normally House members will.
And I'm going to have
to
interrupt you, Tom, because it does look like Abigail Spanberger is giving the Democratic rebuttal live. Let's listen in.
We are gathered here in the chambers of the House of Burgesses. In 1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary task of governing themselves. Before there was a Declaration of Independence, a Constitution, or a Bill of Rights, there were people in this room. The people who served here ultimately dreamed of what a new nation, unlike anything the world had ever seen, could be. The United States was founded on the idea that ordinary people could reject the unacceptable excesses of poor leadership, band together to demand better of their government, and create a nation that would be an example for the world. And this year, as we celebrate 250 years since America declared our independence from tyranny, I can think of no better place to speak to you as we reflect on the current state of our union. Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of Congress, we did not hear the truth from our president. So let's speak plainly and honestly. And let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you? As I campaigned for governor last year, I traveled to every corner of Virginia, and I heard the same pressing concern everywhere. Costs are too high in housing, healthcare, energy, and childcare. And I know these same conversations are being had all across this country. Because since this president took office last year, his reckless trade policies have forced American families to pay more than $1,700 each in tariff costs. Small businesses have suffered, farmers have suffered, some losing entire markets. Everyday Americans are paying the price. And even though the Supreme Court struck these tariffs down 4 days ago, the damage to us, the American people, has already been done. Meanwhile, the president is planning for new tariffs, another massive tax hike on you and your family. And Republicans in Congress, they remain unwilling to assert their constitutional authority to stop him. They're making your life harder. They're making your life more expensive. They're even making it more difficult to see a doctor. Rural health clinics in Virginia and across the country are already closing their doors thanks to the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, championed by the president and Republicans in Congress. And tonight, the president celebrated this law, the one threatening rural hospitals, stripping health care from millions of Americans and driving up costs in energy and housing, all while cutting food programs for hungry kids. But here in Virginia, I am working with our state legislature to lower costs and make the Commonwealth more affordable. And it's not just me. Democrats across the country are laser focused on affordability in our nation's capital and in state capitals and communities across America. In the most innovative and exceptional nation in the history of the world, Americans deserve to know that their leaders are focused on addressing the problems that keep them up at night. Problems that dictate where you live, whether you can afford to start a business, or whether you have to skip a prescription in order to buy groceries. So I'll ask again, is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no. I grew up in a house of service. My mother was a nurse, and my father was a career law enforcement officer. I began my career by following in my father's footsteps as a federal agent, working money laundering and narcotics cases. I worked side by side with local and state police to keep our community safe and to uphold and enforce the law. Law enforcement officers across the country know that it is a unique responsibility to do the serious work of investigating crimes, comforting victims, and making arrests. It's about building trust, and that requires an abiding sense of duty and commitment to community. And yet, our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans. And they have done it without a warrant. They have ripped nursing mothers away from their babies. They have sent children, a little boy in a blue bunny hat, children to far-off detention centers. And they have killed American citizens in our streets. And they have done it all with their faces masked from accountability. Every minute spent sowing fear is a minute not spent investigating murders, crimes against children, or the criminals defrauding seniors of their life savings.
I hate that I can't keep this a secret. I canceled all my food delivery subscriptions and upgraded to Cook Unity, and it's totally transformed the way I eat because every meal is crafted by award-winning chefs from across the country. The variety is unlike anything I've ever seen, with over 100 menu options to choose from every week, so I can always find the exact global cuisines I'm craving, whether it's Thai, Japanese, or Italian. So I can have Chef Christy Flores' signature grilled spicy salmon bowl for lunch, and Chef Mark Forgiani's incredible rigatoni with mushroom bolognese for dinner, and all at 50% off if you click now. To meet my health goals, I've been using the app to easily filter through dietary options like vegan, keto, and even high protein. So I get the nutrition I need without ever stepping into a grocery store. And on my busiest days, they offer convenience.
Whoops.
Down to China, bow down to a Russian dictator, and make plans for war with Iran. Here's the truth. Over the last year, through Doge, mass firings, and the appointment of deeply unserious people to our nation's most serious positions, our president has endangered the long and storied history of the United States of America being a force for good. So I'll ask again, is the president working to keep Americans safe, both at home and abroad? We all know the answer is no. In his speech tonight, the president did what he always does. He lied, he scapegoated, and he distracted. And he offered no real solutions to our nation's pressing challenges, so many of which he is actively making worse. He tries to divide us. He tries to enrage us, to pit us against one another, neighbor against neighbor. And sometimes he succeeds. And so you have to ask, who benefits from his rhetoric, his policies, his actions, the short list of laws he's pushed through this Republican Congress? Somebody must be benefiting. He's enriching himself, his family, his friends. The scale of the corruption is unprecedented. There's the cover-up of the Epstein files, the crypto scams, cozying up to foreign princes for airplanes and billionaires for ballrooms, putting his name and face on buildings all over our nation's capital. This is not what our founders envisioned.
Crap. Did it again. Ah.
No, the answer is no. But here's the special thing about America. On our 250th anniversary, we know better than any nation what is possible when ordinary citizens, like those who once dreamed right here in this room, reject the unacceptable and demand more of their government. We see it in the determination of students organizing school walkouts all across the country, whose voices are becoming so powerful that the governor of Texas seeks to silence them. We see it in the bravery of Americans in Minnesota standing up for their communities, from peacefully protesting in sub-zero temperatures to carpooling children to school so that their immigrant parents are not ripped away from them in the parking lot. As a mother of 3 school-aged daughters, I am inspired by their bravery, but I am sickened that it is necessary. And Americans across the country are taking action. They are going to the ballot box to reject this chaos. With their votes, they are writing a new story, a more hopeful story. In November, I won my election by 15 points. And we won 13 new seats in our state legislature. Because voters decided they wanted something different. Our campaign earned votes from Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everyone in between. Because they knew as citizens they could demand more, that they could vote for what they believe matters, and that they didn't need to be constrained by a party or political affiliation. This is happening across the country. New Jersey elected Mikey Sherrill as governor in a double-digit victory. Democrats flipped state legislative seats in places like Georgia, Iowa, Mississippi, and Texas. The list goes on and on. Ordinary Americans are stepping up to run in the spirit of our forefathers. They are running to demand more and to do more for their neighbors and communities. I know the story well. I first ran for office in 2018 alongside dozens of other Democrats who did the seemingly impossible, flipping 41 seats in Congress. In my case, I was the first Democrat elected in 50 years, swinging our district 17 points. Those who are stepping up now to run will win in November because Americans, you at home, know you can demand more, and that we are working to lower costs. We are working to keep our communities and our country safe, and we are working for you. In his farewell address,
Butcher Box is more than just a box of food. It's a box that raises the bar. Grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken,
ambitious and unprincipled men rising to power. But he also encouraged us, all Americans, to unite in a common cause, to move this nation forward. That is our charge once more, and that is what we are seeing across the country. It is deeply American and patriotic to do so, and it is how we ensure that the state of our union remains strong, not just this year, but for the next 250 years.
I'm going to the galley to get some ice cream.
Have the power to make change, the power to stand up for what is right, the power to demand more of our nation. May God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia, and may God bless the United States of America.
All right, and the feed gets cut right away. So it looks like they aren't going to have any shots of Spanberger walking away from the podium. So we here at Live Now, it was our goal here tonight to bring you the State of the Union speech in full, uninterrupted, and then the Democratic response in full. Spanberger's remarks lasting nearly 15 minutes. Trump's remarks lasting over an hour and 45 minutes. Again, just to give you a recap of the evening. It's been a busy one. Tonight's State of the Union address was wide-ranging and at times sharply partisan, centering on immigration, the economy, and an assertive foreign policy posture. On the economy, Trump argued that gas prices, mortgage rates, and consumer costs are improving, and claimed retirement accounts have risen significantly since he took office. He renewed calls to eliminate federal taxes on tips and overtime pay. He actually touted that he passed that, I should say. He did speak of his foreign policy agenda. It took up a significant portion of the address. He talked about his efforts to release the hostages in Gaza, negotiating with Iran, insisting that Tehran must commit to never obtaining a nuclear weapon. He did state his preference for diplomacy on the Iran issue. The speech also included ceremonial moments, recognition of guests, and announcements of upcoming medal presentations at the White House. It was at times a confrontational speech, particularly toward Democrats, with visible divisions in the chamber throughout the night. And of course, Spanberger just speaking there. She repeatedly asked viewers whether the president is making life more affordable for their families, framing that as a central test of their leadership. In her official response, the Virginia governor delivered a pointed rebuttal accusing the president of misleading viewers, arguing that Democrats are focused on the issues that, quote, keep Americans up at night, particularly affordability. She also pointed to Democratic gains in state legislative and gubernatorial races, portraying her party as building political momentum. That momentum is something that we are going to be tracking very closely as we enter the 2026 midterm season. My name is Austin Westfall. We thank you for staying up with us as we slide into our post-State of the Union coverage. Standing by is the founder and editor of 24 Site News, Tom LoBianco, is here with us. Tom's been watching along with everything that we've been watching. You know, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger was chosen as the person to give the Democratic response. And she asked 3 questions of the American people in her response. Is the president working to make life more affordable? Is he working to keep Americans safe at home and abroad? And is Trump working for you? I'm going to ask you the same question about both Trump and Spanberger. Did Trump accomplish what he needed to with the State of the Union? And did Spanberger accomplish what she needed to with her response?
Yeah, I'll knock out Spanberger answer real quick because, you know, these responses are always really tough. You know, I think it was Rubio years ago had that water incident, which Trump used to mock him for mercilessly, and that's all people remembered of that one. You know, I think Spanberger did pretty well for that. Not bad as the Democrats go. You don't want someone high profile like Newsom or Pritzker or AOC. You know, you need somebody unifying. Pretty solid, kept it tight, very awkward pauses, you know, seemingly some problems with the teleprompter in there.
And I'm back.
Those things were always awkward.
I went and got some ice cream.
Okay.
We just finished hearing the Democrat
surprisingly on a number
rebuttal
of text chains I was on.
Now I'm just listening to follow-up commentary.
And for Trump in particular, you get the sense that this is a legacy State of the Union. I mean, you look at, you know, take away the awards to the heroes up in the balconies, you bring in the hockey team and whatnot, you take away all the stagecraft, and the meat of it really is a half and half of a look back on touted accomplishments and a look forward on promises like in Iran, teeing up if there's any military action, saying that could be on the table. These are all types of things where, especially when you're looking at second term, they only get so many times. Even a 2-term president only gets so many times to walk back out through those double doors, out of the House chamber, through Statuary Hall. So this is one of the last big speeches he'll be giving. And you got the sense that he actually did pretty good. You know, there was more teleprompter Trump than it was like UN speech Trump.
Yeah, and you can really say that you can kind of tell when we see the weave happening. He goes on script, and then sometimes he'll go in a way where you can tell he's kind of just talking from the hip there. Elizabeth Warren reacting. And this was one of those rare bipartisan moments, by the way, where we saw lawmakers on both sides giving applause. You know, let's talk a little bit about the speech and really the main priorities of a State of the Union. This State of the Union happens to be taking place in a midterm year. So when a president is crafting a speech, and again, this ended up being over an hour and 45 minutes long. This was the longest State of the Union speech in history.
It didn't seem long tonight.
Does it feel like this speech invigorated the base, and does it feel like one of the priorities of this speech was the 2026 midterms and maintaining control of Congress?
Yeah, it's hairy going into the midterms, and frankly, in this environment, I'm not sure any State of the Union is going to move the needle one way or another. And again, I go back to, I think that's why this is so important in terms of framing up the legacy as he thinks about wrapping up his time in office. If you look at things like opening up with affordability, playing up the markets, playing up the macro economy, especially investments, things of that nature, that was clearly focused on a midterm message trying to address affordability, things that are really concerning voters, putting the heat on the Democrats with regards to the Department of Homeland Security funding, steamrolling them on the two shootings, Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis, throwing meat back to his base on that. The big question going into the midterms, and we're going to see some really key. We're just right at the cusp of this right now. We're almost into March.
A funny way to put it.
We're going to
throwing meat back to his base.
Primaries in terms of enthusiasm and whatnot. And one of the big concerns, of course, is that the Democrats are super enthusiastic, super inflamed, ready to go. Probably similar margins potentially to what we saw back in November. That's a spam burger referred to. The question for the Republicans is, can they get them to show up with the same fervor that they had in 2024? And, we used to talk about soccer moms and Panera moms. You have a lot of swing votes, depressed voting, a one-time presidential turnout votes among younger voters, some concerns with what will happen with Latino voters. So those are all big X factors. And I really don't know that any State of the Union can address that. And certainly not with the way things are right now. Certainly not with the polling as we see it.
You and I both know how short the memory is of voters. By the time election season comes around, the 2026 State of the Union in February, it's going to feel like it was a million years ago. Tom, good to connect with you tonight. We'll see you soon. Appreciate you.
You too. Thanks, Austin.
All right, you can follow Tom's coverage at 24/7 News. Live look at the White House on this Tuesday evening, 11:30 on the nose in the nation's capital. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a commercial break. On the other side, lots more discussion about the State of the Union. We have a bipartisan panel coming up in a minute.
All right. So what did you think about it? Were you watching it? Couldn't help myself. I really wanted to watch it. I really wanted to fly tonight. Normally I avoid politics, talking about it at all. But I feel like I should be informed and stay informed and
Charlie Alpha,
at least watch it.
Flight level 410. Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649er, Indianapolis Center. Radar contact continue.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. At least check it in. I hope you're doing well. If you could please hit that like button for me, that'd be greatly appreciated. Not a whole lot to see tonight. We haven't done any night flying in quite a while. And I'm off tomorrow, so I thought, man, I really wanted to do some more flying tonight. I'm starting to really finally get along with the 737. It's been a rough road.
Austin Westfall. Welcome back into Live Now. A live look at the White House as we continue on our conversation about the State of the Union. We still got this camera, by the way, and we're not doing much of this. Mostly media continue. And
I bet the after parties out there are going to be a hoot tonight.
perhaps a little bit of spin room type of stuff going on in there, like we would see after a presidential debate.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a real roller coaster the last 4 or 5 days with the 737. So much so that my lack of experience was really starting to become a problem. I'm used to mostly flying the Airbus. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm finishing up all of my certifications, all of my specializations for aircraft and rotorcraft. And so I really want to now, in the next, coming in up next month or so, or maybe even sooner than that, but starting my own companies in the Microsoft Flight Simulator career. Something I have never done before. I didn't even make it that far in NEOFLY. I was just working hard, grinding away to save up all my credits to eventually start a company. And then they added career mode to Flight Simulator 2024. So starting all over again. So I'm up over like 2.5 million, which really isn't a whole lot. But I'm at the point now, yeah. And I really want to create an airliner company.
Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649er contact, Indianapolis Center on 120.475.
All right. So the 737 and I had no choice. I had to...
0.475. Kin Sierra, Charlie Alpha, 649er.
I had to make friends with it and learn how to use the FMC at least better. At the moment, I still don't think I'm any darn good with it, but now I know enough to get the important information from the EFB that does not always transfer over, especially in career mode. So far in free flight, it doesn't seem to have a problem, and it auto-populates pretty much everything properly into the FMC, but for whatever reason, career mode doesn't. And so I've had to learn how to... some of the things that don't show up. Would be... come back up to init ref. Come on, you. The cruise weight, our zero fuel weight, our cruise altitude, our cost index, our reserves, and career mode sometimes don't populate. Making sure that I learn how to use this, the N1 limiter, or at least pick the right one. Normally you're presented with 3 different engine, kind of like engine ratings, from high rating, medium, like setting your engine to high, medium, or low. Right. This week I'm going to be learning how to, or practicing how to create an entire flight plan from the FMC and forego using the EFB. Not something I've done in the past in the Airbus, and I think that's where you really start feeling more in control of your flights, especially if you want to string them together. Getting the information in properly now. Certain things weren't showing up, like for example, top of descent. So I wasn't getting my top of descent detents appearing in our map and our plan. I don't know that we're getting it now, but this has got very limited waypoints. I see ED, and I'm not sure what ED is. If you know, please let me know. ED. What is ED? Is that estimated descent? That can't be. That's on the runway there. KHEF. What is the altitude we're supposed to be at here? KHEF. 9,897. I wish under our communication you could specify exactly what altitude you want to come down to.
Indianapolis Center. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er is at flight level 410, descending flight level 410. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, Indianapolis Center. Radar contact continues. Indianapolis Center. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Request flight level tree 10. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Descend and maintain flight level tree 10.
All right. Go ahead and do our flight level change.
Descend and maintain flight level tree.
And then we'll try to come down some more once we get there. Man, I was really hoping we were going to make it to Washington before he ended up stopping his speech tonight. Should have started a little closer.
27.1. Good day. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
Oh, I thought we did. I'm sorry.
127.1. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
So yeah, I really want to create an airliner. And I don't know if you use employees. I don't know anything about creating a company yet. I'm really looking forward to it. Really excited about it. On the auto brake. So yeah, I just absolutely needed to make sure that I can fly all these different type of airliners. I'm not sure which one are going to be next. Probably the Airbus 330. I've flown the Dreamliner before, and that's quite a bit different on the inside as well. Dreamliner's pretty spacey looking. I need to do cargo, a heavy cargo or airline cargo mission, and get a superior rating on it. That's another thing. They've been descending me weird. I don't really understand how air traffic control was handling descents. If I'm supposed to handle the descents. I've been having a lot of problems with air traffic control. We've not been seeing eye to eye, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting it now. But even little things like that have prevented me from getting a superior rating on a flight. And that's where it was starting to become an impediment. Thank you to you sim pilots out there and real world pilots that have put together instructional videos on the 737 MAX. I see in some cases you've discovered some of the bugs that I've discovered. So I don't feel too terribly bad about what I didn't know in certain areas of operating the 737, because I see that you've said, oh wait, This feels kind of buggy around here. Yeah, it certainly does. I'm with you. Man, they're having me do a lot of transitions tonight.
Center. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er is passing flight level tree 45, descending flight level tree 10. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, Indianapolis Center. Radar contact continue.
There's 32,000. And we'll see if they'll let us come down another 10. All right, they're talking on the news again. Let me go ahead and tune back in.
Solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain. I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terrorism to have a nuclear weapon. We have talked so much about Iran and its proxies.
Going to 124.45. Kin Sierra Charlie
The U.S.
Alpha
military has been building up more and more military hardware in the Middle East, expanding the functionality of what they can do if they do choose to go forward with some sort of military action in Iran. Standing by is retired.
That's at least twice now they've wanted me to contact Indianapolis Center.
And the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. Hal, he kept things fairly vague with Iran tonight.
Also, I thought he kind of kept it open. You know, we have this massive armada over there. We have this huge air component that's also not just afloat, but actually on the ground, that's poised to strike. There's a lot of speculation. Well, I shouldn't say speculation. A lot of prediction that there could be a major attack within days. And wow. Second carrier task force, you know, the Gerald R. Ford, our biggest carrier, is very close to getting in within strike position. So with all of that, I kind of expected to hear more. He didn't really go into it. He kept it kind of vague.
Excellent.
He did mention, you know, we obliterated their nuclear weapons, and I was kind of interesting to hear that, how he's going to kind of say that, because on the one hand, they use the term obliteration, and we've talked, you know, that's not a standard military term. But then the other one is that then he had to kind of pivot over to say, well, we're going after them because they're not going to give up nuclear weapons. There is a little bit of a difference there. If you say you destroyed it and they're still trying to do it, you know, but he kind of moved through that pretty easily. And but then he moved right on. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of stuff there that he just pointed to that, you know, obviously, you know, kind of hit those patriotic heartstrings. You know, 2 Congressional Medal of Honors in a
that was neat to see.
I've never seen anything like that. It was stunning, and one of them's really fast. I have to tell you that those things usually take years and years to approve.
And they were both pilots.
Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slovers, he just did that mission. That's the fastest Congressional Medal of Honor approval and awarding I have ever seen. That's just that was stunning, and that was the Maduro mission.
He was the helicopter pilot.
And of course, pointing out, you know, the tragic events that took place with two National Guard troopers, you know, an airman and a staff sergeant who was there, and of course the fatal, you know, the fatal killing of a soldier. He pointed that out, and it was kind of interesting how he kind of put all that together. But it really, you know, it definitely had some impact.
You know, foreign policy took up a significant portion of the address. He touted efforts to secure the peace deal in Gaza. We just talked about Iran. He said that NATO allies are moving forward with spending 5% of their GDP on defense. That's something that we knew about already. That was not a brand new announcement that he made, but 5% GDP of NATO's GDP will be spent on defense. That's a substantial increase from previous targets. He talked about Operation Midnight Hammer, which targeted the nuclear facilities in Iran last time. You know, let's talk about Russia and Ukraine. Maybe you caught something I didn't, Hal.
No, he didn't talk about it at all.
A lot about Russia and Ukraine. He ran on the platform of ending wars very quickly as soon as he would get into office. He did bring the Gaza war to a peace deal that remains to this day. But I think you might agree with me, we still sit here post-speech with a lot of questions about the path forward to peace in Ukraine.
Well, there's you know, he went through the 8 conflicts that were stopped or ended during his administration, and the truth is that the U.S. played a critical role in all of those. You know, stopping the fighting, whether you want to call it a full-fledged war or an armed conflict or border conflict or whatever, we did play a big role in all that. But then he got to Ukraine, and really, and it's something I've heard him say before, he mentions the carnage, basically. He mentions the loss of troops, and that we're working hard to find a peace deal. But then he didn't really provide any details. He kind of stayed away from any more than that. And then Gaza he talked about, but I kind of felt there was a little point there where he said, you know, he says we got the Gaza deal, that's the big one. But then he kind of tacitly admitted there's still some things, you know, some violent things going on there, which kind of was he didn't say it, but it kind of infers, you know, some of the things that are still happening in Gaza with airstrikes and what Hamas is doing, to say that there's still, you know, more work to be done in that regard. And I just thought that was kind of an interesting admission on his part.
We really don't have any more clarity now on the Iran issue than we did before this speech. Would you agree?
I would agree. We don't. But I would say I'm less concerned about the speech. I'm less focused on the speech unless he was going to say something. And there was speculation out there that he was going to say something big on Iran tonight. Trust me, there was a lot of people wondering, was he going to say that he was going to set a new deadline or what?
I was really hoping to hear something on more.
None of that happened. And sometimes these speeches, you have to look for what.
I wanted him to address Iran directly tonight.
In that regard. But
that's, I guess, tonight's State of the Union, not really for that.
Look, they got to give up this this goal, you know, those secret words or special ways and secret words that they have to say that they do not want nuclear weapons. Now, honestly, I have heard them
21,000 back to VNAV.
They never said it in a way that it had any, you know, ringing truth to it. They'd always say, "Oh, of course we're not going after nuclear weapons. Just ignore everything that your satellites are showing that we're doing," and they would do that. So I think there's some truth there, but they have said words kind of like that before, and then we find out that they're actually processing, enriching uranium for making nuclear weapons. So they didn't really have
nothing changes there. You know, they've been doing that. They lie.
But if you look at what's happening, what's right on the ground out there, and at sea, we are poised to do something.
Al Kemper joining us tonight. He's a retired Marine intelligence officer and the host of the Strap podcast. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Austin.
All right. So that is going to bring us to our next commercial break, a live look at the White House. Our final break of the hour. We'll be right back.
Dun, 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 dun. Turn off the sound here for a minute. So now I think I want to try to come down to what do we got here? 191 miles still. That's not bad. Let's come down by 1,000 feet.
Indianapolis Center. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha.
Now that that's over, well, I turned down the voices pretty low and the engine's pretty low so we could hear everything tonight. I was thinking about turning it back up, but
200. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Maintain present altitude.
Okay, they don't want me coming any lower.
Maintain present altitude.
Oh.
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
I have not done night flying in quite some time. Not that I don't like it, it's just that it doesn't make for the best live streams unless we had something else to do, like watching and listening to the State of the Address. I used to like to find old movies, public domain movies, but then you can still run into copyright issues if you're not bringing enough unique content to playing that within a live stream. Something like that. But that was always fun, doing night flights and putting on a movie, kicking back, just chit-chatting. So yeah, don't have very many night hours logged at all. I was in X-Plane 11 for a good amount of time before Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 arrived. Pardon me. I'm trying to clean my desk here, and it's jostling my mouse cord around. I'm bumping my mouse cord. Sorry about that. So I used to do it. Spend a lot of time in X-Plane 11 before Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 came out, and would do lots and lots and lots of night flying. And with 2020, I want to say, this is being conservative, way conservative, like 300 hours of night flying. I should reload it and still see if it has my logs. I think it was closer to, I don't know. I can't remember. All right, they're back.
The typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year. And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem well, at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe.
All the point of interests are on, but we're not getting any labels.
Much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes.
Might as well just turn them off then.
Ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. The hottest.
The hottest.
As thousands of new businesses are forming in factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country.
All right, we were just listening to part of President Trump's State of the Union and talking about the economy. Thank you so much for watching live now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi taking over here for the next hour. we have some live interviews with analysis of the longest State of the Union address in American history. We want to play out a little bit more, another clip of President Trump speaking about tariffs, and then we'll bring in our live reporter.
One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I use these tariffs, billions of dollars, to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money.
They're happy. Uh-oh, what happened? I turned his sound down?
The story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful country saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love. Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first.
All right, that was just a little bit of Trump's lengthy State of the Union address. We just listened to it in full. Now we want to bring in some analysis on this. So let's bring in Associated Press reporter Chris Rugaber, who's been contributing to the AP's live coverage of this speech all night. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So you were covering this as it happened, and of course, economy took the lead in this speech as expected. President Trump talking about his successes in lowering inflation, gas. He also talked about grocery prices. We want to play out a clip of those comments right now.
Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. The price of eggs is down 60%. Madam Secretary, thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while. We're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago.
That was President Trump during the State of the Union talking about grocery prices. And while those remarks were happening, we got this from Senator Elizabeth Warren, posted on X. She said, Trump is lying. Coffee is up 18.3%. Ground beef is up 17.2%. Cereal is up 6.2%. Bananas up 5.4%. Fish is up 5.1%. And cookies are up 5%. So, Chris, what is your takeaway from this affordability conversation and really these contradicting takes on where prices stand for Americans right now?
Well, right. Well, Trump wanted to address that. It's been a line of attack from Democrats, as he acknowledged. And there are different numbers floating out there. Overall, grocery prices are not growing as fast as they were certainly a few years ago. Overall, when everything is taken into account, they're up about 2.5% in the past year. So they're still rising. I mean, at the peak of inflation back in 2022, grocery prices were rising by as much as 13% a year. So they've certainly come down, but individual items are still climbing. And so, yes, some of those numbers from Senator Warren, I haven't seen all of them, but the ground beef is up 17% in the past year. Now, eggs have come down. The other problem, the egg price growth has come down. The other problem that the president is facing, it's the same one that President Joe Biden faced at the end of his term, which is even as inflation itself, even as the rate of increase slows, people still remember what the lower prices were a few years ago, and that's still frustrating for them. So I think that's a big thing that the president is dealing with, as well as a few of these pockets like ground beef still going up a lot in price.
And during that speech, President Trump also talking about his administration's success in boosting the stock market, talking about the stock market breaking several records. Let's play out those remarks and we'll get your reaction to that as well.
The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes.
So, Chris, in those remarks, President Trump talking about the stock market, boosting of the stock market, and those record-breaking numbers that he talked about. You did a live fact-checking report during this speech for the Associated Press. What was your analysis of those comments regarding the stock market?
Well, I mean, the stock market has gone up it went up last year a fair amount, but it hasn't gone up that much more under Trump than under many other presidents. And by the way, this year, for the first couple months, month and a half, it's not gone up too much. There's been some bumps, as many people probably noticed, stemming from some concerns about AI and how that's going to affect software companies and others. But in the first year, in 2025, the S&P 500, the broadest stock market index, went up about 16%. So that's a healthy return. But under Joe Biden's first year in 2021, it went up 19%. And in other cases, in Joe Biden's first term, it went up 29%. And it was in Trump's first year in his first term, it also even went up a little more than last year. So, and there have been new highs, but the stock markets are always setting new highs. When Biden was president, there were several dozen new highs reached as well. So that is not as big an accomplishment, I think, as the president is saying, and it's not clear. A lot of that earlier was driven by some of the AI hype around and the companies, such as the chip companies that are making a lot of money from AI investment. and that's not so much directly related to the president's policies.
And we just played this out a little bit before you came on, but the conversation around tariffs, Trump's tariff policy has been a big topic of conversation, especially after that Supreme Court ruling last week. During his speech tonight, President Trump called that an unfortunate ruling from the Supreme Court. What was your takeaway from the conversation surrounding tariffs, and was there any indication on what the future might be in implementing these global tariffs?
Well, he is trying to replace those tariffs. He's not going to be able to replace them all immediately. The tariffs that were struck down were put in place under an emergency law that he was using, and that was enabling him to threaten all kinds of tariffs against any country and on any product. And that's now what the Supreme Court said he can't do. There are other provisions, including one that he's using to put a 10% global tariff on, but that's only for 150 days unless Congress renews it, and that's going to result probably in lower tariffs for some countries like China. So the United States won't be earning or getting as much revenue from that as from the other tariffs. There could be some small declines in some of the price increases we've seen. It could help in that way. He's then going to try to do some more investigations. There are some longer legal processes that he can use to try to reimpose some of those other tariffs. So we'll be hearing a lot more about tariffs, I'm sure, for the rest of the year. It will maintain some of the uncertainty for many companies who they'll have to figure out what products will now be tariffed, what's going to replace the tariffs that went away. And so that may slow down some of the hiring and investment. So that could be a problem for many companies. But there are these other avenues, and he's going to try to use them. I don't think he'll be able to impose as many tariffs, or most of the estimates are that we won't be bringing in as much revenue from American companies who are paying the tariffs, won't be bringing in as much as before.
And of course, this was a lengthy speech, so President Trump covering a range of topics, and we're just starting to see reaction coming in on some of these different comments that were made. From your live analysis of this speech, what do you think are going to be the big talkers coming out of this, maybe as we move into tomorrow?
Well, he didn't have a lot of new proposals. There was a proposal to provide a $1,000 matching grant for people who don't have retirement accounts through work, and there wasn't a lot of detail there, so I think people will be looking for more detail on that. I mean, that could be something that could help a fair number of people if there's follow-through. There was also some talk about these Trump accounts for newborns, but it's still not clear how widespread that will be available. So, but I think people will be looking for some detail from that. Otherwise, I think some of the talk will be on immigration, what other things he did and didn't talk about. He certainly talked about criminal immigrants and trying to get them out of the country, but he didn't really give a full-throated defense of what has happened in Minnesota, for example. So that, I think, has been noted by some people. So it'll be interesting to see. It was a long speech, but not a lot of new proposals for Congress, say, to act on. So that's a little bit different from State of the Unions from other presidents.
All right, thank you so much, Chris Rugaber, Associated Press reporter, for your analysis. We appreciate you joining us.
No problem, thank you.
Let's take a 2-minute break. We'll have more analysis of the State of the Union address when we come back.
649er contact Washington Center on 1tree.2. Good day.
Going to 1tree.2. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Washington Center, Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, flight level 210.
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, Washington Center. Radar contact. Continue.
Washington Center, Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Request -1000.
Minus 1,000. What the hell?
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Request denied.
I'm going to go ahead and start a descent anyway. We passed top of descent. They told me to expect 9,000, maintain altitude and expect 9,000, but they're not giving me the order to come down, so I'm going to come down. Been watching the State of the Union tonight. Had some reactions earlier. Normally I don't really get into politics. Tonight's a special exception. Yeah.
You are 1,000 below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain flight level 210.
Yeah, and then now they're telling
Subscribe
me.
is how you stop explaining the same thing over and over at work. Watch this. It'll change your life. Raise your...
And Trump covering a range of topics, also talking about foreign policy issues. We want to play out right now the clip of President Trump talking about U.S. relations with Iran and possible military intervention. Let's listen.
As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer. For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism, death, and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members, and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, in particular nuclear weapons. Yet they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again. And are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those.
See, we're supposed to be at 9,000 feet by KHEF.
A nuclear weapon. My preference.
For more on this, let's bring in Associated Press reporter Farnoosh Amiri. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what is your reaction to what we just heard from President Trump? He was talking about the protesters killed in Iran. He gave a more concrete number than what we've been seeing. He said 32,000. He also
no, it says 10,000. Close enough.
Haven't heard the magic words that
it was 9,000 earlier.
Capabilities of Iran. So what is your takeaway there? And have we heard anything from the Iran leaders on that topic?
It does say it's 25
to resume this week.
2,500 at Catron.
Watching to see what President Trump was going to say tonight regarding Iran. Obviously, his State of the Union speech is happening as there is, one of the more significant U.S. military build up in the region, and as Trump has threatened to take military action against Iran, first because of its treatment of its protesters in early January, and now to bring them to the table to make a nuclear deal. What was really confusing, I think, for most of us who have spent years covering these negotiations, which have happened under Republican and Democratic administrations, is that, one line that has been consistent, whether, you can say whether they mean it or not, is that Iranians have said that their nuclear program is peaceful and that they do not want a nuclear weapon. And they said that as recently as this morning, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi.
They're all full of shit. Pardon my language. They're all full of it.
There was a series of outlines of where Iran stands ahead of the Thursday conversations between U.S. and Iranian officials, and he said clearly and unequivocally Iran does not want to build a nuclear weapon. So it was a bit confusing why the president recently said those comments. He hasn't mentioned those magic words before. It's been U.S. policy that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon, but given that publicly, and I'm assuming privately, Iranians have made that case, it was a bit of a head scratcher why it seems to be the new messaging for the U.S.
And this is that tweet that you mentioned from the Iranian foreign minister. This was actually put out today before the State of the Union address. He said, "Our fundamental convictions are crystal clear. Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon. Neither will we Iranians ever forego our right to harness the dividends of peaceful nuclear technology for our people." Now, we want to move on to some other foreign policy issues that President Trump addressed during the State of the Union, as it is the anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war. He spoke briefly about that. What did you take away from his remarks on the situation with Russia and Ukraine as it stands, and any indication on where it could go from here?
I think generally, as someone who was listening and covering this speech, to focus on foreign policy, I was really surprised by how little foreign policy mentions the president made, even though his administration has, really gotten involved in a number of different conflicts. He says that he's ended eight wars, 8 conflicts. He has been, the U.S. has been overtly propositioned in the Caribbean, obviously what happened with Venezuela last month. So it was interesting that he did not spend a whole lot of his, historically long State of the Union address talking about foreign policy. But what he did mention was Ukraine, an issue that during the campaign he promised would end on day one. Obviously, we are past the first year, well into his second year of his second term, and those negotiations are continuously ongoing. His envoys are expected to also go and have another round of talks with Russian and Ukrainian officials this week, but little movement has been made on that issue. He mentioned a number of other topics, but I think what he spent the most time on foreign policy-wise was Venezuela. Obviously, the president and his allies see that as his most successful foreign policy intervention and action, and he really touted what they were able to do with the removal of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and obviously the deal that they made with the country of Venezuela for their oil.
And yeah, talking about Venezuela, he did refer to Venezuela actually as our new friends and talked about getting some gas from them. So what does that indicate about maybe the future of U.S. relations with Venezuela after the capture of Maduro?
Yeah, I mean, the president is trying to make it, you know, show the fruits of the labor of why the U.S. decided to, you know, take military action against Venezuela, and why it has been going on months and months of this campaign of blowing up boats that it claims is trafficking narcotics into the U.S. and saying that this is, you know, why we're doing it, and now we have this great relationship with this country that was, for decades, under many administrations, a adversary of the U.S. and its leaders. So it's been really interesting that he has propositioned this as, you know, he is a businessman. He's propositioned it as a business deal, that the U.S. is now benefiting from the Venezuelan oil. They are able, he said, to buy 80 million, I believe it was gallons of oil from the Venezuelans. So it's really interesting and will be, I think, interesting point to keep an eye on, obviously, as these negotiations with Iran continue, another oil-rich country that the U.S. obviously would like to partner with.
I think a lot of people were surprised about how little foreign policy he addressed during that speech. You just said yourself you were surprised as well. What do you think was the reasoning for that? Do you think that was strategic? He really seemed to focus specifically on America and our economy versus this range of foreign policy issues that we're currently dealing with.
I mean, you know, it is a midterm year. I think the president sees that his polling is, you know, at a very, very low, and he knows that domestic issues are what the American voters go to the ballot box for. I mean, you know, Americans, you don't normally go and vote in midterm or general election year on things like foreign intervention, Iran, Venezuela. They go to things, and as we've seen more recently, and these trends keep continuing to come up, on affordability, on gas prices, on grocery prices, on safety, crime and safety. So it's interesting that despite his, you know, his administration's uber focus on foreign policy in the first year,
this is 2,500 feet for Catron.
Directed towards a
That's 20 miles
and towards domestic issues, as he wants to make clear coming up to the November elections that those are what his administration really is focusing on, or at least sending that message to voters.
Yeah, President Trump really using this State of the Union address to appeal to voters ahead of the midterms. Thank you so much, Farnoosh, for your analysis here. We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And let's step away for a quick break. We'll be right back with more.
All right. All right, I think that's all we're going to need tonight. They're just going to repeat things. We don't have any good pundit talk tonight. Please not on this channel. Thank you to Fox in general. Hopefully you didn't mind me using that and invoking Creative Commons attribution. If so, I'll just delete this live stream. Not a problem. But I wanted to fly tonight and get another flight in. And I wanted to watch the State of the Union. So, two birds, one stone. Yeah, and after Catron, it's only 4.8 miles to Baden. I don't think that, I think there might be something wrong with the air traffic control. Because when we finally did get our clearance, you know, we were up to initially around 41,000 feet. And if I hadn't been trying to step us down and using request to descend, I just don't know that there was any way, based on what they wanted us to start out at the cruise level all the way down without just putting the aircraft in danger and it being a crappy ride and all that. I'm just not happy with air traffic control interaction lately in free flight or in career. So I should probably head over to the forums tomorrow and do some looking around and see what is going on. You know, is there a problem? Is there a procedure I'm missing somewhere? So the only thing I've been able to do is at top of descent is just ignore them. Pardon me. And I hate doing that. But I don't see any other way at the moment. Yeah, we're 3.9 miles and I'm still just struggling to get to 2.5. And then we're supposed to be at 1,600.
Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, climb and maintain 3,300. Contact Washington Tower on 119.1.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. 3,300. No.
300. Tower on 119.1 Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
Double check the ILS chart. Baden, 1,600 feet.
Washington Tower, Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, 9 miles south, inbound ILS runway 1 approach. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, Washington Tower, altimeter 29.
Putting into approach.
Cleared ILS runway 1 approach.
Slowing down. Approach mode kicks in.
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er, please acknowledge. Cleared ILS runway 1 approach. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
Coming in like a bat out of hell.
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Wind 281 and 4. Clear to land runway 1.
Yeah. Horrible.
Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er. Acknowledge last transmission.
I can't.
Clear to land runway 1. Kin Sierra Charlie Alpha 649er.
500. Too low, gear. Too low, gear. Too low, gear. 400. Approaching minimums. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Brakes to slow down after press and hold. Too slow. How did the pilot assistant come on?
Charlie Alpha 649er, turn next taxiway.
Okay. Well, that was fast and rough, but we did it. So again, as you see, I don't know what's going on with air traffic control.
Next taxiway. Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649er. Contact ground on 121.7. 121.7 for Kin Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649er. Washington ground, Kin Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649er, taxi to parking. Kin Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649er, taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway, Lima, November. Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway, Lima, November. Kin Sierra, Charlie Alpha 649er.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to turn on my damn landing lights and my taxi lights. Typical. Well, I was too worried about coming in fast. Well, we arrived. We're going to be a little bit fashionably late to our imaginary State of the Union after party. But, you know, we're fashionably late. We're not too terribly late. All right. And I am not going to muck about with ground services or shutting down anything. That was just for the State of the Union, and we mission accomplished. Got a flight in, got to watch the State of the Union. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'll try to do something more, well, way less political. and a lot more fun for tomorrow. Got to think of something interesting to do to entertain you. So, thank you for tuning in. This, of course, was Skydude episode 358. You know, even as nice as the AI can make the cover art sometimes, it screws up little things like episode 358. EPP? Why did it add an extra P in there? Oh, well. See you tomorrow, folks.